What is up, you guys, and welcome back to my channel. And if you're new to my channel, welcome to my channel. My name is Toni Bryanne. In today's video, we're gonna be discussing how the pick-me era is all the way back. I have been keeping my mouth shut on this topic for some time because I know how the ladies like to tussle, but the conversation needed to be had, and it needed to be had ASAP. From the policing of gym wear, to the rise of trad wives and how to get a man content, to internalized misogyny, to Gen Z's obsession with the soft life. We have a lot to break down in today's video. But as always, before we get into today's video, I like to start off with a little bit of positivity. So let's first start off with the quote of the day. Today's quote of the day is, "I refuse to let a negative experience change who I am at my core." Today's verse of the day is Matthew chapter 5, verse 5, and it reads, "Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth." And without further ado, you guys, let's get straight into today's wild ride of a video.
Taking you in this moment.
We have been for a long time in a time period where women are gaining popularity and going viral for making content on telling women how to keep a man, how to get a man, and how to shrink yourself in order to get the man of your dreams. And that's easily by submitting, staying quiet, and looking pretty while doing so. And what the absolutely crazy part about this is that this is all marketed as self-love and knowing your worth. But the question is, how exactly did we get here? How did we get to the deepest depths of hell? Well, the pick-me era has absolutely always existed. But before we talk about how long it's existed, let's talk about what exactly is a pick-me for those who may not know. Let's Google it. What is a pick-me? Okay, according to AI Overview, which I don't typically like to use, but here we are. A pick-me girl is a slang term used to describe a woman who tries to get male attention and validation by acting differently from other women, often by downplaying traditionally feminine traits or interests, or by denigrating other women. This behavior is seen as performative and driven by a desire for male approval. Ooh, now that was quite the definition. And quite frankly, as young girls, we have seen this a multitude of times. I mean, look at the shows and movies we grew up watching. The girl that was not like the other girls was always the girl that was picked at the end of that said movie or TV show. My favorite is Starstruck. I don't know if you guys remember that movie Starstruck on Disney Channel, where the small town girl didn't care about boys and didn't care about concerts, didn't care about looking all cute and pretty, and is disgusted by the fame of this singer named Chad, who, is it Chad? I think it's Chad. Hold on. I lied. Christopher, but Chad is always the name of the star athlete or the star male person inside a movie or TV show. But anywho, he's basically like Justin Bieber back in the early 2000s, and he probably reflected it because he had a little sad swoop bang going on that was so prevalent in 2010 when this movie came out. But she just did not want to hang out with this guy, but then he ends up falling in love with her, and then they all live a happily ever after story. Whereas the girls that were seen as more ideal or more digestible don't ever get the guy. This is seen in another Cinderella story. And honestly, there's multiple Cinderella narratives that we grew up with, but it's the girl that likes to wear sneakers with her dresses and doesn't care to wear makeup or doesn't care to be on the cheerleading squad ends up being picked because she's just so different. Mean Girls 1 and Mean Girls 2. Katie transitioned herself into that male gaze persona, but the dream guy didn't like that. He liked the girl from Africa that liked to ride on elephants. Which is another stereotype that we can talk about for days on end. But anyways. And then Mean Girls 2, I mean, they went far beyond this trope because they really made this girl be a pick-me. Like, I like to work on cars with my dad, and I don't care about going to the dance, and I don't want to go to homecoming, and I don't want to wear a dress. I'm different. And then who gets picked? She gets picked at the end of the movie by the dream guy. Think of the movie Tall Girl. She's tall, she's different, she gets bullied for it, which is not okay, but she gets picked at the end. So the pick-me trope that we saw in movies and TV shows was meant to uplift women. However, in doing so, it put down other women. It put down the women that fit more into the feminine standard. So when young girls are constantly seeing this growing up, they start believing that they're different. They want to be different. I don't hang out with the girls. I hang out with the boys because I'm special. When in all actuality, it's probably because you're too busy trying to be like the boys versus hanging out with the girls. Because it makes you not like the other girls, which is quite interesting. However, I do strongly believe this trope started to die down as the girl boss era rose. And basically the entire "I don't need a man" rhetoric. Feminism was on an all-time high, I would say between 2013, 2014, until right about 2020, 2021. And this was when I believe a lot of millennials were entering into the workforce and they were trying to break the stereotypes that women just stayed at home. It was all about rejecting the traditional paths of males being the only ones that were able to climb that corporate ladder. And not only that, women didn't just have to be able to be successful by climbing that corporate ladder because social media exploded. Women were selling things on Etsy, they were selling things on eBay, they were creating blogs, creating social media platforms where they were making so much more money than the traditional man in the corporate space was making. And how can we forget all the pyramid scheme companies? How can we forget Mary Kay, Avon? Women were selling things without needing a man's approval. So it was all about hashtag girl boss. And that's when a lot of the graphic tees with hashtag girl boss were being sold. The pink mugs, the blazers, rising artists like Lana Del Rey, Taylor Swift, Beyonce, Rihanna. Who else? I'll say Ariana Grande, Miley Cyrus even, but so many women artists, especially in pop, were taking over the charts. Women were trampling over men. So yeah, women were on the top of their game, and that's when a lot of the girl boss rhetoric came about. But I also want to be clear, because this will later connect into my next point as to why I believe the pick-me era is back. But the girl boss movement was all about no sleep, hustle culture, no days off, feminist ambition, feminine power, we can do it all, we don't need to sleep, women can do everything, moms can do everything. And that inevitably meant empowerment to a multitude of women. Mind you, these were mainly millennials and even some Gen Xers. Gen Z was soon to touch the workforce, but not quite yet. And that's how we'll navigate that conversation a little bit on, but please bear with me. Let's now get into 2020, okay? Women were all about themselves and not needing a man for quite some time. Until the men found microphones and have not stopped yapping since. Then birthed the red pill movement, circa 2020/2021. But before we get into the red pill movement and how the pick-me era came back through the red pill movement, I would like to thank the sponsor of today's video. Right now, millions of Americans are barely hanging on. Everything costs more, but the pay isn't matching those costs. People are trapped in a multitude of debt. Think student loans, credit card bills, medical bills, and then imagine having rent or a mortgage on top of that. Most people are trying to survive, but they just can't seem to figure out a way to do so with all of this debt. And unfortunately, that's exactly how the system wants it. Why, you might ask? Because when you're buried in debt, you're way easier to control. You say yes to jobs you hate, you accept less, you stay quiet, you end up depressed, and then you feel like everything you worked for wasn't worth it in the end. But that's why PDS debt is different. They're actually helping people break free from the system that was set up to make them fail. PDS debt provides custom solutions to help you become debt-free, which is personalized perfectly for your exact situation. And the best part, there is no credit score minimum. Over 100,000 people have already started their journey with getting rid of their debt with PDS debt. So if you're tired of barely getting by in this economy, go to pdsdebt.com/mycode or just click the QR code on screen and take the free assessment that just takes 30 seconds to complete. Those mere 30 seconds can be the start of a brand new chapter in your life. Thank you, PDS Debt, for sponsoring this segment of today's video. Now let's get back into today's video. The red pill movement was such a dark era, and the funniest part is I stopped talking about the red pill movement because when I was a mere 20 years old, I had grown men that were like 50, 60 trying to drag me and say I'd be single for the rest of my life because I did not agree with a lot of the things that were being said about women in this era. And hell, maybe they are right, okay? Because 5 years later, I'm still single, but thank God. Because whew. Anyways, let me stop. But the red pill movement framed male validation as the ultimate prize. Women would go on podcasts like Kevin Samuels, RIP to him, he's no longer with us. Fun fact, but not necessarily a fun fact, I used to date a guy that was neighbors with him, like direct neighbors with him, and the apartment that he passed away in, the penthouse he passed away in, the guy I was dating literally lived next to him. He was like, yeah, that's his apartment, like we used to be cool. I guess I should have taken that as a sign, because he wasn't too far off from Kevin Samuels' beliefs. So that's why we no longer speak anymore. Kevin Samuels was a very pivotal figure in the mainstreaming of the Red Pill movement, specifically on platforms like YouTube and Instagram. He would literally go on Instagram Live, and women and men, but the content that made him get popular was women going on his lives, asking him for advice as to why they're still single. And the women that would go on his lives, the women who I would say shamefully would go on his live, would then be ridiculed by a man who identified himself as a high-valued man. And by high value, just in the definition, it's just a man that is supposed to be above levels that every woman should want. And he would then give them very controversial advice, primarily to Black women, calling them fat, saying they're undesirable, they're unattractive, and that they need to be realistic in their thought process when it comes to dating.
A lot heavier. I hold a lot of weight in my face, but I'm petite.
Do that so we can see up and down.
Well, I don't really have like real clothes on right now. I kind of have. I recently had surgery, so I have like
What kind of surgery?
I don't want to blast myself. You got like 6,000.
Okay.
How
much? What's the most you've ever weighed?
Share.
What's the most you've ever weighed?
150 pounds.
Okay. Yeah, you look much bigger than a dress size 4.
I'm not, trust me.
But okay.
No, I'm not.
But
I'm
you're
not.
still talking
I'm
about
not.
I said okay. If you ranked yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rank?
What?
Yeah, let's get back to reality.
No, I'm in reality.
No, you're not in reality.
I'm in reality.
You're not in reality. If you're gonna be a 10, we can end this. Because that's not reality. You're not a supermodel.
So I'm far from ugly, honey.
I didn't say that.
So
you made this combative, man. If you really want to say you're a 10, that's fine. But show me what the model contracts are.
I don't want to be a model.
I didn't ask you whether you want to be a model or not.
Somebody asked me today.
But you're not. But man, you're not but you're not that. Come on.
Okay. Well, you said show me where the model contract. Somebody asked me today. Oh,
okay.
do you model?
Let's try this. Let's try this again. Where would you honestly rank yourself?
I just told you.
A 10.
Yeah. Maybe to you I'm not, but beauty's in the eye of the
No. So you're a 10.
Yeah.
So you mean to tell me that there are no women that are more attractive than you?
What?
I'm asking.
It's hard.
If you're a 10, that means you're at the top.
It's like I'm not.
If you're a 10, that means you're at the top. A 100 on a test is as high as you can go. It's a perfect grade. You're saying you're a 10, a 100 on the test. Are you saying that there's nobody who scores higher than you on looks? You're in the top percentile. Worldwide.
Possibly, honestly, but it doesn't matter to me. No other woman I'm intimidated by. Not one. I'm not.
Now, like I said, some of these things could very well be true with the women that he was speaking to, but the way that he would speak to these women was in a very misogynistic and downgrading way. His ideologies were all under the guise of self-improvement, but to me, it was just in a way to make women feel less than and to degrade those women that genuinely sometimes called for honest help on how to find a man. But a lot of men loved this. They loved the fact that this man was going online and attacking women, telling women that they're a 7 at best. And it led to this entire journey of men hopping on camera, getting a microphone and doing the same exact thing, degrading women. I know a lot of women, I'm sure y'all could relate to when the red pill movement was on an all-time high of men coming in your comments saying you're unattractive, you're not pretty, you think you look better than you really are, you're a 6 at best. They were going in, okay? It was a very dark time. Thank God they chilled out a little bit, but it was cringy. So basically, Kevin Samuels would have these these pick-me women go on his lives, go in his comments, asking and seeking his validation, and thus was born a bunch of other red pill commentators. And the most infamous, I would say, is the Fresh and Fit podcast, where they are some of the most disgraceful men on the internet, and you say one thing about them, not even a negative thing, and they are ready to attack primarily women. I don't think I've ever seen either of them attack men on the same level that they attack women. But the amount of women that continue to go on a podcast, especially like this podcast, just shows how much the pick-me era is still on the horizon. I thought after the multitude of women that he's disrespected, that other women would not want to go on the show. But since so many women are seeking male validation or seeking a platform to seek more male validation, they're dealing with this disrespect, letting men speak to them egregiously, all for the male gaze. They think if they're picked by, I think his name is Marvin or Marwin, that they're better than the next woman. And then when you see these women in the room with other women, say he's attacking one woman on the show, the other women don't speak up. They sit there and shut up because they'd rather have male validation versus doing what's right, which is making sure you're defending your other women counterparts. Take a look at some of these clips from the Fresh and Fit podcast and then Kevin Samuels.
I don't think it's doesn't make sense to ask for advice from women.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, why the fuck would anyone live?
That's a big difference.
Why would you live with Myron? He's got like 50 fucking properties. He's ahead of the game. He popped off in the first year of doing a podcast. Why would you ever, as a woman, give him advice? What would you give him advice on?
What I was
Like,
explaining,
what the fuck?
let me bring it full context. I was saying that I don't think men should be going to women for like advice on life, because I think the trajectory that a man lives in his, mission versus like the trajectory of a woman, we live completely different existences.
He's being verbally violent and emotionally abusive, and he responds with his hands. Is that fair play?
No,
Okay, why not?
because men are physically stronger than women, and a real man will walk away
Thank
with free.
you. That's at the root of everything, gentlemen. Ladies, that's at the root of everything. You're a woman that believes that men are stronger and men should walk away. Then if that's the case, then you should keep your mouth closed and not incite a man. Because you can't whoop his ass. But how many women do that? Why wasn't she a real woman and just run away? Why'd she hit back? What sense does it make to agitate somebody who you cannot defend yourself against?
No sense.
I absolutely hated the red pill movement, and I'm so glad that it has slowed down significantly and we stopped giving these men the attention that they so much wanted. And they also started an entire movement of having other men disrespect and degrade women. But though so many women spoke out against the red pill movement and did not like Kevin Samuels and did not and don't like the Fresh and Fit podcast people, a lot of women bought into it, even if it was subconsciously. Women began adjusting themselves and began making their own content on how to be a high-valued woman, how to live the soft life, how to be picked. It was no longer just men pushing this narrative. It was the women taking what they saw was viral, and they began seeing that a lot of women were not confident within themselves as much as they preached to be. And they decided to monetize off that content, and thus began the soft life era. This is when we began getting the femininity coaches, the how to be chosen videos, how to get your ex back, how to make him fall in love in 5 days, how to get that second date, how to get the first date, how to get that ring. All this content began taking over women's spaces online, and we began literally seeing this content everywhere. There was an era that I joke with my sister about how she literally would be sending me so many videos about dating and like how he's not the one or how he is the one and different dating tricks to try and all these things. And I was like, Ty, I feel like every time you send me something on TikTok, it's a new lesson, it's new advice. Like, I'm just on this app to laugh, if anything, or maybe see a little social commentary, but dang, I don't want to hear about dating all the time. And then she even noticed, like, I really am getting a lot of that content because y'all know the algorithm be algorithming. Because if you say you like one type of video, they're gonna show you 10 different variations of that same video. But the main difference between the pick-me culture we saw growing up and the pick-me culture we see now coming back is that it's just repackaged, but it's in the same box. Back then we had the I'm not like the other girls mindset, but today it's more curated. It's more pretty and feminine. with the pick-me woman going online preaching femininity, submission, soft life, and moral superiority disguised as empowerment. So the reason why a lot of people don't realize that pick-me culture may be back is because they're not so loud about it. They're actually soft about it. She's teaching women how to be more soft-spoken, be more delicate. She's teaching you how to gain more male approval without blatantly saying this is how you get male approval. And a lot of the times you guys dragged me when I made this video when I said that a lot of the Christian content creators are mean girls disguised. Take a look at that video if y'all want to check it out. It is here or here, wherever it pops up on screen. But in that video, I talked about how I feel as if a lot of the Christian content creators aren't necessarily girls the way they preach themselves to be. They're just very judgmental women that use their moral compass in order to degrade women. But if you guys want to hear a little bit more what my opinion was when it came to the Christian girlies, go and check that video out. But they definitely are a main group of people that are a part of this pick-me era being back. They're too busy shaming women versus preaching the Bible. And honestly, I do not believe that God is as male-centered and female-centered the way that you guys try to make it seem to be. I think God really wants us just to be good people. I really highly doubt the top of his concerns is if one of his followers is wearing a mini skirt. But hey, who am I?
Something that I've noticed in very intelligent but very religious women is that sometimes they have the biggest issues with male validation. They can be the biggest pick-me's. And my theory on that, as someone that grew up with 5 very intelligent but very religious sisters, well, 4, sorry, is that I think the thing is, with intelligent women, I think because they are so intelligent, they are very observant and they are very aware of the societal imbalances between what religious men get and what religious women get. They know that when a man is very religious, he gets power, he gets control, he gets leadership qualities, he gets to be a scholar, he gets to, it levels him upwards. When a woman is religious, she gets compliments, she gets protection, love, care, and she might even get a good husband if she's lucky enough. And I think the thing is with intelligent women is that they're very observant and they know that this isn't fair. So it leads them to 2 options. Number 1, they could start questioning, but then that would lead to cognitive dissonance, which then could lead to them leaving the faith. So a lot of them choose the second option, which is doubling up on their religious devotion. Told that because they're women, they're inherently cherished and loved and valued, but they're also, because they're a very intelligent women, they're also aware of the fact that if they leave the religion, all of that cherish and love and protection will leave them. So they understand their worth in their religion is not intrinsic to themselves. She knows that she isn't loved and respected because of her intrinsic value as a woman. She knows that she gets it because of her compliancy, because she's a compliant, obedient person. Not respected and loved for being a woman, respected and loved for being a compliant woman.
I mean, I'm personally sick of seeing the content of women saying how I submit to my man or how I let my man lead. Girl, just focus on your relationship and don't worry about the rest of us, okay? But now it's time to show you guys some examples of how the pick-me culture is back besides the ones that I just showed you just now. So the repackaged pick-me fits in several different categories. We have the wife, which is the ones that make the mommy content, make the wifey content, how to submit to my husband, how I am the perfect mom, how I cook my recipes, all of that in the third. Think of the preacher's wife, think of the Christian content creators, like that is the one box, okay? Then you have the Jezebel pick-me. And I'm seeing this quite a bit, especially unfortunately when it comes to the women that look like me. It truly saddens and breaks my heart, but I'm sure I'm only seeing it with people that look like me because that's the content I mainly digest. So that's what I'm hoping, fingers crossed. But the examples I'm about to talk about are primarily Black women. India Love, who is the OG influencer, as many like to call her. She is a 29-year-old influencer. She blew up back in the Tumblr days, and she was known to be very beautiful. A lot of men wanted her. She's been known to date a lot of rappers and athletes and kind of have her way and live that soft life that so many women so desire. But recently she's gotten caught up in the streaming lifestyle, and we're going to talk about more of these streaming girls in just a second. But I don't know if you guys have heard of Kai Cenat's Streamers University, where he had a bunch of streamers in one college and they all did content together. And India was one that came in, though she wasn't a streamer, but she was known to be a very popular influencer with millions of followers. So while India was streaming through her stream and other streams, because literally everybody on that campus was streaming, you can see her in multiple men's faces. She was in Duke Dennis's face, Jay Cinco, DDG, who we already know is problematic in his own right. And a lot of the women he surrounds himself with are known to be pick-me's as well. But that's besides the point. point. But in these videos, India is being very flirty, kind of throwing herself at them. And it's giving kind of cringe, especially given her age. No one is saying she is old. India's not old by any means. She's not even 30 yet. But a lot of the people at the streamer university are significantly younger than her. They're like 20, 21 years old. So their behavior makes sense if they are doing the most. But with India being nearly 30, people didn't expect her to be so like, I want all of your attention to all of these men. In multiple different scenarios, she's caught twerking on these men, acting jealous when these men are talking to other women, these men that she's not dating. And I at first thought, you know, they're just doing this for content. Like, I mean, you have to be interesting when you are a streamer because people are literally sitting and watching you for several hours at a time, sometimes days at a time. So you may need to get some scripts together in order to retain your audience's attention. However, that quickly shifted when I saw her go viral recently for saying that a baddie turns 18 every day. Take a look at this.
You know what my motto is?
Tell us.
There's a bitch that turns 18 every day, okay? So you need to be on your shit because a bitch turns 18 every fucking day. And I'm not finna be the bitch that used to be the cool bitch. No, I'm gonna always be the cool bitch forever and ever and ever. And y'all gonna know me as being the original cool OG. LA bitch. That's just what it is. I'm never gonna be like washed. I'm never gonna be like in the past. I'm always gonna be like the one. Like, I'm the blueprint. Like, I know y'all know that. Like,
I like it. We are fully aware you are the blueprint. Hey, they're listening out there. That might be the first time I heard that. There's always going to be a bitch turning 18 every day.
A bitch turns 18 every day.
I mean, you say it, we say it like we say if we like, you know, sports, hoop or whatever, it's always going to be some younger wave or like niggas that could dress cooler.
Respectfully, we always say there's a new draft class every year.
It's always a draft class.
Exactly. It's the same exact thing.
Same thing.
It's really
you got to stay fresh or you'll get left behind.
Facts.
In this clip, it shows that she is competing with basically children. Any woman that is worried about an 18-year-old after, I would say, 22 is not confident in who they are as a person. Me at 24 years old, I don't think about what an 18-year-old is doing. My little cousin, she'll be 18 in July, and she just graduated high school. She is a baby to me. I am not worried about what Maddie and her friends are doing because we shouldn't even be dating the same men. Let's really clock that. And if you're dating a man that is interested in an 18-year-old when you're approaching 30, what does that say about him and what does that say about you for continuing to date him? That entire mindset just reeks of pick-me culture and it just reeks of male validation. I've dated older guys and I've told you guys this on several occasions. Like when I was younger, 18, 19, I thought, oh my God, like this 27-year-old wants to talk to me or this 30-year-old wants to talk to me, thinking it was cute. Now at 24, you guys, I don't want an old man in my face at all, okay? It's the funniest thing because the past few weekends, my sister and I have gone out. We've had older men try talking to us and I was like laughing at the fact that before when I was younger, I thought that was kind of like a badge of honor because, oh my God, like he sees I'm mature or, oh my God, like I'm only 18 and I'm like pulling these older guys. No, baby, that's not a flex. And me at 24, if I'm dating a man that has dated someone younger than me and he's older than me, we don't need to be talking. The youngest I would say it's a limit. Cause I feel like most of the guys I talk are probably about 29, 30. And I think a 29 or 30-year-old talking to a 22-year-old is a little bit odd too. I think I'm the cutoff, quite frankly. I think 24, 25 is the cutoff when you get to 30. But everyone has their preferences, but I just want to be talking to him. And that's because I'm not a pick-me and I don't want to compete with 18-year-olds. I don't care to. We should not be in the same dating pool, quite frankly. But when women say things like this, it further pushes men to this higher level that they do not need to be on, okay? And this goes into more of the other girls in the streaming world. When watching Kai Cenat's, it's Cenat, right? His Streamers University, I did not personally watch it. I saw clips on my FYP, and I guess once you like one video or interact with one, you see a multitude of them. And plus, he was just blowing up. So kudos to you, Kai. I truly respect the hustle. I respect the game. I love it. And I might want to get into streaming. I don't know. I feel like it would be fun to get into. I know I've never understood why people would sit and watch one person all day, but it could be fun. But anyways, a lot of the girls that are doing the streaming thing, they do a lot of things for male validation, like Cooking with Kaya. Cooking with Kaya went viral, not for her cooking, for her twerking while she's cooking, and for her saying, my food is so good, I could steal your man.
Girl, I could steal your man with this dinner I just cooked, bro. Take a good look.
Once again, another girl seeking validation from the male gaze in order to grow her audience. And then they get shocked when women call them out for being a pick-me and only wanting and seeking male validation. And even women at Kai Cenat's Streamer University, they were saying that Cooking with Kaya was not really nice to the other girls.
No, deadass, I'm not even making that up. Like, I was like, hey girl, and I started dancing. I had seen her and I was like, Cooking with Kaya, and she was like, fuck. Damn, bitch, okay. Because one thing about it, I'm trying to support every single body. And I'm trying to support you too, Cooking with Kaya. So yes, I did your little dance, and she looked at me like I was crazy with an attitude. And I'm like, nobody has done that on campus. But she did. But maybe she has a different vibe on stream.
Now, granted, I will say I have seen clips. I was just watching my girl Queen Chama, hey Chama, and she made a video about Cooking with Kaya, and Kaya recently lost her sibling, so she was acting a little bit off, or maybe she's like a little bit socially awkward. So I'm not going to 100% say that this was the truth, that she was being mean to other girls. Like maybe she was just a little bit nervous or intimidated or going through something. So I won't say that much, but however, her entire presence on the media was all about male validation and seeking male validation. And a lot of these girls, these IG girlies that get on these platforms, specifically these male streamer platforms and these male YouTubers and TikTokers, they do the most. They're like 30 years old twerking on camera on a 21-year-old stream. And the crazy part, it's a lot of these former IG baddies. They basically are going wherever the money is at. Right now, streaming's popular, so they're gonna pop on every stream that they possibly can. And what disgusts me is that they willingly go on being disrespected by these men, being humiliated, and being sexualized by the men and also their 10-year-old audience members, all for the sake of clicks and content. And yeah, you guys can say, oh my god, it's just to be funny, they're just having fun. Yeah, it's masked like that, but underneath the mask, we're watching women lower their standards, lower their values, all for male validation. So now let's get into the entire internet seemingly pushing modesty, specifically when it comes to policing gym wear. So recently there was a lot of commentary on what women are choosing to wear to the gym. And a lot of people have been downplaying or degrading women for wearing smaller clothing when they are at the gym. Now, I say when it comes to this topic, it's pretty evident when a woman is being just disrespectful when she's at the gym and just trying to be very attention seeking, where you are wearing basically bra and panties at the gym. Like there's a time and a place. However, some of these outfits that people are talking about, I'm just like appalled. You guys expect women to go into the gym with sweats on where you're going to go and sweat. I don't understand why I'm going to be wearing oversized clothing. Now, some women choose and prefer to wear oversized clothing in the gym, but somebody like me personally, I am not doing that. I don't like sweating. I don't like overly sweating, should I say. So I am going to wear clothes that fit my body and allow me to properly be able to cool myself off.
If you look at any gym line, like especially for women, you look at any of their clothes for women who work out, everything is tight fitted. Everything is painted to the body. You ever tried to work out in loose sweats and a loose t-shirt? It's difficult, it's hot. The clothes that we wear to the gym, they are gym outfits. Leggings and a bra, leggings and a shirt, a tank top, whatever. It's gym wear. That hasn't changed for years. It is the culture, the society, and the people in our generation who have sexualized gym outfits that now have women getting dressed to go to the gym, sitting here like, oh, this is gonna cause too much attention. Oh, this is gonna draw too much attention towards me. Maybe I need to cover up. Maybe I need to put on a longer shirt. Maybe I should just put on some loose basketball shorts. Like, and it doesn't matter, okay? Honestly, if you see a woman doing squats, like her booty gonna be bootying, period. Let's adjust our mindsets to stop over sexualizing things that were never meant to be sexualized. I'm not trying to seduce you. Like, that's a you problem, and you're not gonna put that weight on us anymore. What's changed is this provocative generation who over sexualizes everything to the point where women don't even want to go to the gym.
So TikTokers and influencers, or just people that want to spectate and spit out commentary on the app, they're calling out women to cover up more when they're at the gym versus just minding their business. When I go to the gym, y'all, I am locked in. I don't look at anybody. The only time I'm actually looking at other people's bodies is when I'm like, damn, I want to look like that very, very much so soon, okay? And that's typically at Pilates because we're in a workout class, so we kind of have to look at each other. And that's the only time. I'm never looking at what they're wearing or what they're choosing to wear. I'm just like, wow, you look beautiful, you look good. Like, oh my God, body's tea. We love it. However, other people are in the gym, like where you're lifting weights, and y'all are worried about other people. Girl, I'm too busy trying to survive and finish this set. And that's why I say it is internalized misogyny that you're masking as someone that can't mind their damn business. And once again, it's less about choice and more about how we can continue to police and control women. So the question is this about femininity or internalized misogyny overall? I want to make it very clear, there's nothing wrong with trying to embrace your softness and embrace your femininity. If you like to cook, if you like to serve your man, like, I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with that. It's truly your choice and whatever floats your boat. The problem is, what we're seeing is not empowerment. It's judgment, it's misogyny, it's pick-me culture. When femininity becomes synonymous with obedience, we're in trouble. There was just another woman that just went viral for telling women that you need to sleep with your man if you're married. Excuse me?
Number 2, consent doesn't exist in marriage. I know this is going to piss a lot of people off, but when you get married, your body belongs to your husband and your husband's body belongs to you. 2 become one, body, mind, soul, and spirit.
Like, I'm telling you, these trad wives are out of control. They're so out of control because they're trying to control everyone else but themselves. And the reason why I believe a lot of Gen Z is now buying into this ties back to what I was talking about earlier when it comes to girl boss culture. When girl boss culture became a thing, the economy was in a much different place, okay? Bills were not as high, rent was more achievable, groceries were lower, gas was lower. Heck, getting a drink at the bar, prices were lower. But today, with everything being on the rise, Gen Z is burnt the out. Economic instability makes hypergamy sound like a dream and the safe choice. So a lot of women are opting out of the girl boss culture and being your own individual because they're just tired. We're just tired. We've worked so hard and we're not seeing results. Before, we were told if you work hard, you get to play even harder. But we keep working and nothing is changing. So we're like, you know what? I'm over it. I'll just be the soft life dainty princess you want me to be and get my husband so I don't ever have to work a day again. Because I am tired. I am burnt out. Let me be the pick-me, please. So they don't literally say, let me be the pick-me, but they start changing their ideas and their way of thinking and try to conform their own personalities because they just want a break. They just want to not have to work so hard any longer. And of course, as always, it's a trend. Not being a pick-me necessarily, but being the wife, living the soft life, drinking your matcha, going to Pilates, going to yoga. It's what's trending. So you're just going to try to adapt to those trends. Being the fun, wild girl is not a trend right now. Being the soft, dainty princess is the trend. So a lot of women are trying to become that trend. Or should I say women and young girls. So unfortunately, this just shows that the pick-me era is indeed back, and I'm gonna need it to go all the way back because I want women to just be women. However, everything plays a role. I always say the economy affects everything from fashion to mindsets to the decisions we make. But you guys, that is the end of today's video on the pick-me era being back. What are your thoughts? I want to know what you guys think in the comments down below. What are your thoughts on the origin of the pick-me culture? What are your thoughts on what's going on now? What are your thoughts on the red pill movement, the streamer girls, India Love and her thoughts on 18-year-olds being a competition to a 30-year-old woman? First of all, and then India's gorgeous. The older you get, the more attractive you get to me. You get wiser, you look better, you feel better. Why the heck would I want to go back to being 18 years old when you're all confused, okay? But maybe if you're still confused at 30, you might want to go back to being 18. So that's why I think self-improvement and self-development is definitely essential as you get older. But let's get the discussion going on in the comments down below. Remember, you guys, for the billionth time, we're on the road to 300,000 subscribers. So YouTube hates me right now. I don't know what I did to YouTube, but like, I'm getting very suppressed and it's making me depressed. So YouTube, push this video out. We need to make sure no more girls are being pick-me's, okay? Because that era needs to be dead. So push this video out to all the pick-me's, all the soon-to-be pick-me's, and all the retired pick-me's, okay? But you guys, I love and I appreciate all the support so much, and I will see you all in my very next video. Love you guys. Bye. Mwah.
Taking you in this moment.